What's up, anti-stagnation? Nah, that's not the name anymore. Actually, I decided against it, so just no name for now. That was kind of a dumb name. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty conflicted on the name. Anyway, we're ditching it. No name for now. It's been a while, but I just wanted to pop in with some thoughts about, um, like, okay, in my opinion, it's something the EU is considering. I'll just start with exposition. So the EU has been considering implementing this thing that is abbreviated to CBAM in what I've been reading about it. Um, but it stands for Carbon Border Adjustment Measure or something. I have no idea what the M is. But basically, it is a tariff or a tax for imports from other countries where they're using worse fuels or where they don't have any kind of like carbon tax or carbon cost implemented by the government. So it would pretty much add an extra cost to everything that the EU imports from like China and just other developing world places, which is a lot. Um, and Russia with gas and everything, but it would potentially help out European businesses that have already been dealing with this kind of carbon carbon tax environment before. And anyway, so I think that it's kind of a cool idea, and I wish it was getting more traction. So one thing is a carbon tax is very controversial. A lot of people don't like it. It is kind of sucky for the pocketbooks, you know what I mean, or for growth or whatever, especially in places like North Dakota or something. Um, but it makes sense from an economic standpoint, in my opinion, because that is a future cost that somebody needs to be accounting for. Um, you know, like we can't quantify the tangible cost very well because who knows the long-term cascading effects of climate change that we're not even really studying in depth enough to be like accurate judges of what the true dollar cost per ton of CO2 emitted would be, or kiloton of CO2 or something. But damn, I'm getting kind of cold right now. Hold up. It's kind of messy, but whatever. Shit, man. Left my good jacket in the car. Okay, I'll just rub my hands together and then I won't be cold anymore. So, the carbon border adjustment M would, in my opinion, be branded much better as a carbon tariff. You know what I mean? Because like then it gives a little something to everybody. Some people like tariffs, some people like the environment. You know what I mean? Protectionism and the environment coming together. I think that's a great thing. So if you implemented some kind of carbon tax system in the US in junction with this carbon tariff, but you apply it on all different downstream causes of carbon emissions and all the transportation emissions involved, then I believe that all of those, it really is like globalization has been great for a lot of countries, but it's been really bad for the environment. And I mean, the U.S. environment was very bad when we were the industrial powerhouse of the world as well. But that's because we were the ones doing it first and knew none of the negative consequences. And so now we've cleaned up our act immensely, and our industrial sectors are like very clean. But that's not the case, even though the developing nations know the risks, they're still undertaking them, because everybody wants that quick dollar when they're coming from nothing. So I think that like a carbon tariff though, uh when you add up all of those costs of all the downstream emissions and like of getting steel imported and computer stuff parts imported, like all kinds of stuff. Like building a car uses so much. I mean, whatever. Never mind. Uh, I really believe that the equation would pencil out that it was cheaper to produce all that stuff in the U.S. I think that actually, if all countries did this, it would just lead to local diversification of economies. Because right now most of the world is like a lot of places are specialists in different types of things. Um, and don't have because it's like comparative advantage in the international market, right? Um, the U.S. is lucky to have the most diverse economy in the world, most likely, um, and largest. But it could be even bigger and way more. Uh, have bring back okay, basically bring back all the manufacturing jobs because all of that shit would be cheaper to do here or Mexico or Canada or something like that because then there's less travel distance and less emissions on the way to get between like 100 train or like whatever 10 trains and then two like ocean tankers versus like one train or two trains away. uh Train depots, whatever. I don't know. Um, it's it would just make a lot more sense to be doing all of that stuff in house for places like the EU, and if the United States were to adopt this or to do it in a NAFTA version, where maybe Mexico and Canada get like a 20% discount on their carbon tax. And nah, why would we do that? I don't know. Never mind. But like, just rope them into the deal, because I just think local proximity, it's a win-win. It's better for the environment and it's better for the economy of the places that you live, And this would be applied to all sectors. So you know what I mean? Like the big industrial Monsantos and the industrial giants of agriculture and Tyson and all of these like uh, monopolized farms and homogenized farms and debt trapped small farmers that are subsidiaries or working for these corporations. Like that business model would get way more expensive, whereas local produce would instantly become the much cheaper option than something that was shipped across the country. So it would even diversify the economies of states, and hopefully break down the homogenization and the generification of or genericization, however you prefer, of all of our places and brands and cities and everything like that. Um, yeah, I don't know. Think about it. Like the carbon emissions from making a shirt in the United States would be, I feel like, extremely lower than making that shirt on the other side of the world and then having it shipped here. So if this kind of carbon tariff regime was implemented, I really believe it would imminently bring about a reshoring of most industries from overseas, except for the ones that are involving like rare minerals that we don't have here or something. So I don't know. I just think that it would make a lot of sense for the countries of the world, especially the United States, to be looking into this. Um, yeah, carbon tariff. I mean, think about how many millions of jobs that would actually bring back to centrally located places in the country where the shipping costs would be lowest. Um, yeah, and I don't know. Like, for me, it's honestly, if I were to implement it as president, it would be like it would be like a protectionist policy disguised as a climate policy, just based on my like hoorah, bring all the jobs back kind of uh, mentality or whatever. Um, but it really would make a dent in global emissions as well. So you are not killing two birds with one stone, but you are tackling two problems with one idea. So I think that the U.S. should think about this, and some candidate should throw it out there as like a potential, yeah, potential, policy, and just see what happens. Like, it would cause a shock by making things from other countries somewhat a little bit more expensive. Um, Definitely it would, but that's kind of the idea behind it, is that, like, yeah, there is a cost to getting all of your fast fashion shipped from across the world, or getting like all of your, you know just, I don't know, resources, shipped from across the world, all of your parts, all of this plastic junk. Think about all the plastic junk that could be eliminated if stuff had to be made in the US instead. We could maybe actually make a dent in those plastic islands in the ocean, and people here would be way more motivated to be thinking of other solutions that would be more biodegradable and stuff like that, versus countries where they're just trying to make the most quantity for the cheapest price possible with the cheapest plastic possible, that ends up just like covering the earth in 1,000 years. So, um, yeah, carbon tariff, implement it. I saw in some articles talking about the European model, they were thinking like $30 a ton of CO2. I don't know what would be accurate. That would be the hardest part of the debate, is because some people would be trying to set it too low, some people would be trying to set it too high, but nobody's actually right because there's no real one correct answer. So, uh, it is kind of, could turn into a political fiesta in that sense, but I don't, whatever, dude. Like, it takes big ideas to be moving this country forward and to try to help the world deal with climate change, and yeah. So that's carbon tariffs. Think about it. Um, think about it. Um, Tucker Chisholm. Peace.